My dad was always very physically active, despite having suffered a back injury from a mining accident at the age of 23. This left him with chronic back pain, but he still was able to work on the railway and the farm. My mom, sisters, and I could tell he was in pain, although he never complained. Dad and Mom were always independent, and they stayed on the farm as long as they could, but eventually Parkinson's affected Dad enough that they had to move into the city. The first time he was admitted to the hospital was when he had pneumonia. Over those 2 weeks, he didn't get out of bed much at all and started to complain about back pain. It wasn't until he arrived back home that we saw the quarter-sized weeping open wound on his spine. The home care nurse confirmed that it was a pressure ulcer resulting from being in one position too long. The bony part of his spine from the accident years before had increased the pressure in that one spot and broken the skin. With the care of the home care nurse every day, it still took months to heal and for the pain to be managed. The second time he was admitted to the hospital was a year later. He had fallen and broke his femur, which required surgery. He spent another 2 weeks in the hospital, and after being transported home again, we found that the original pressure ulcer reopened and was even bigger. We understood that it could be hard to reposition someone who had a broken femur, but at the same time, we knew he was supposed to be moving around as part of his physiotherapy. How could this have happened again? The staff at his long-term care facility did all they could to make him comfortable, turning him often in bed, placing pillows around him, using a special donut made for his back when he sat up, and giving him medications for his pain. But this time, the ulcer also required visits to the wound care clinic for debriding and bandaging. It took almost a year for the skin to heal again. The final time he was admitted to the hospital for pneumonia, we were nervous. For the first few days, we couldn't visit because of the COVID protocols, and one nurse said he would make sure the pressure wound wouldn't open again. The rules changed after a week to allow families to visit, and we discovered that his pressure ulcer had reopened again. We were beside ourselves. I said, "Dad, why didn't you ask them to turn you?" "They seem so busy," he said. "I didn't want to bother them." We decided that we would take turns to be with him every day and to reposition him ourselves. We knew what to do after the first 2 times, but the wound was so big, turning him made him scream in pain. Dad insisted he wanted to go home, and after 2 weeks, we discharged him ourselves. That pressure wound never healed. It was the size of my fist at one point, and it smelled terrible. The long-term care staff took good care of Dad, made the time to keep us informed, and addressed our concerns. He lived for another 2 months, and like always, he never complained much, even when we knew he was in pain. Looking back, it is hard for me to come to terms with the preventable pain that he had endured. A few minutes every hour or two could have entirely changed the last 3 years of my dad's life. And that is why I am sharing our story.